Blue is a color that often evokes a sense of beauty, rarity, and intrigue. From the deep blue of the ocean to the shimmering blue wings of butterflies, blue seems to pop out in nature. Yet, when we take a closer look at the natural world, we realize something surprising. Blue is actually a rare color. In fact, there are no blue tigers, blue bats, or blue squirrels. Even blue whales aren't as blue as we might think. Why is this the case? Why does blue seem to be so rare? Yet when it appears, it's often spectacularly beautiful. In this video, we'll explore the scientific, evolutionary, and even physical reasons behind the rarity of blue in nature, all while uncovering the fascinating stories of how and why blue appears in certain creatures. The rarity of blue. A quick overview. When we look at the natural world, we are surrounded by a spectrum of colors, yet blue is strikingly scarce. If you think about it, animals and plants are usually colored in reds, yellows, greens, or browns. You won't find many naturally blue creatures, and the ones you do find often exhibit blue not as a pigment, but through some very cool optical tricks. The deep blue we see in the sky and ocean is one thing, but blue as a natural color in living beings is something else entirely. So why does blue seem so elusive in the world of flora and fauna? To understand this, we need to dive into a little bit of biology, physics, and evolutionary history. Why animals don't have blue pigments? Let's start with a basic question. Why don't animals just have blue pigments? Well, nature generally relies on pigments to produce colors, and blue is one of the most challenging colors to produce chemically. For most creatures, pigments like melanin, carotenoids, and chlorophyll are used to produce common colors like brown, yellow, and green. These pigments are relatively easy to make and are important for various biological processes, such as camouflage or attracting mates. But blue? It's different. To make blue, an organism would need to develop a very specific pigment, and that's something that's not common in nature. Most blue in the natural world is created not through pigments, but through a phenomenon known as structural coloration. In other words, the color comes from the physical structure of the organism, not the molecules it contains. The chemistry of color. How blue is made without pigments? The secret behind many blue animals is structural coloration. This refers to the way light interacts with microscopic structures on the surface of an organism, rather than the color being produced by a pigment that absorbs and reflects light. Essentially, blue in nature is often the result of how light bends and reflects off of tiny, finely arranged materials in the animal's body. Take the blue morpho butterfly, for example. These butterflies are known for their striking blue wings, but interestingly, the blue isn't due to a blue pigment. Instead, the wings have scales with microscopic ridges that reflect and scatter light in a way that gives the wings a vibrant blue color. The scales are designed in such a way that they only allow blue light to pass through while canceling out other colors of light. The result is an iridescent, shimmering blue appearance. Why some butterflies aren't really blue, but look at first glance, you might think the wings of the blue morpho butterfly are colored by a pigment, but they're not. Instead, the color results from a combination of light reflection and refraction. The surface of the butterfly's wings has microscopic ridges that reflect blue light at certain angles, making them appear blue. This is not a pigment but a physical phenomenon. The same principle can be observed in other creatures, such as the feathers of blue birds. In the case of the blue jay, the bird doesn't have blue pigments in its feathers. Instead, the feathers contain microscopic structures that scatter light in a way that gives them a blue appearance. These structures are arranged like tiny beads that allow blue light to pass through while blocking other wavelengths, making the bird appear blue. Water and the blue whale. A blue illusion. Now let's talk about one of the most iconic blue creatures, the blue whale. While the blue whale is often referred to as the largest animal on Earth, it's not as blue as its name suggests. In fact, blue whales are more of a grayish blue with lighter undersides. Their blue color is an optical illusion caused by the way light interacts with their skin and the water around them. Water absorbs red light more efficiently than blue light, which is why the ocean looks blue. Similarly, the blue whale's skin reflects blue light, but it doesn't contain blue pigments. So, just like many other creatures, blue is an optical effect rather than a true color created by a pigment. The evolutionary challenge of blue pigments. If blue is so difficult to produce, why do animals bother to be blue at all? The answer is likely tied to evolution. Blue in nature can serve a variety of purposes, from signaling to predators that an animal is toxic, to attracting mates or defending territory. In some cases, blue coloration can be a signal of strength, health, or genetic fitness. However, producing blue color is costly. It requires specialized structures, and often these structures are complex and require energy to maintain. That's why blue is not a go-to color for most animals. It's too resource-intensive. For many species, it's simply not worth the evolutionary cost to create blue pigments when other colors, such as green and brown, are easier to produce and serve the same survival purposes. The role of light in creating blue. The physics of color. When we dive into the physics behind why blue is so rare, the answer lies in light itself. As light interacts with different materials, it bends and refracts in ways that determine what color we see. Blue light has the shortest wavelength in the visible spectrum, and it's scattered more easily than other colors. This makes it the ideal candidate for creating iridescent and striking colors in nature. For example, the blue feathers of a peacock or the wings of the morpho butterfly owe their color to the precise arrangement of microscopic structures on their bodies that scatter light in such a way that only blue light is reflected. It's a process that's more about geometry and physics than it is about biology. Blue in the animal kingdom. Blue birds and blue frogs. We see blue in the natural world in some very specific places. For instance, the blue poison dart frog is an iconic blue creature. These frogs are actually quite toxic, and their blue coloration serves as a warning to predators that they are not safe to eat. The bright blue serves as a signal that the frog is potentially harmful, much like the vivid coloration seen in some species of snakes or other toxic animals. Similarly, bluebirds such as the blue jay or the mountain bluebird are some of the most iconic examples of blue in the animal kingdom. As mentioned earlier, these birds don't use blue pigments, but rather rely on microscopic structures in their feathers to create a blue appearance through light scattering. Blue eyes, a human example of structural coloration. Blue eyes in humans provide an interesting example of how blue can occur through structural coloration. Unlike the pigments that create brown or green eyes, blue eyes are a result of light scattering in the stroma, the layers of tissue in the iris. The blue color comes from the way light interacts with the tissues in the eye, rather than from a pigment. While blue eyes are rare, they are a clear example of how structural coloration works in humans. Just like the blue feathers of a bird or the wings of a butterfly, the blue in human eyes is not due to a pigment, but to the way light reflects off microscopic structures within the eye. Blue is a symbol in nature and culture. Beyond its rarity in nature, blue has held cultural and symbolic significance for humans for centuries. In ancient Egypt, blue was associated with the heavens and was reserved for the pharaohs. The use of blue pigments in art, clothing, and cosmetics was a sign of wealth and power. In more recent history, blue has come to symbolize calm, tranquility, and even mystery. For animals, blue serves various evolutionary purposes, from communication to camouflage to attraction. The rarity of blue in nature only enhances its value and meaning, making it all the more fascinating when we encounter a truly blue creature. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed learning about the rarity of blue in nature, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more amazing science insights, and share this video with your friends who love the wonders of the natural world. Stay curious and keep exploring with us.